The deadly war that started UK Drill, 6-7 versus 150. His voice is kind of dry.
Way since its root, from its underground and heavily Chicago influenced start to a now more commercial and cleaned up genre. If we was to tell people back in 2012 that 10 years later that drill artists would be getting hundreds of millions of views and be getting nominated for Brit Awards, they'd think you're crazy, but it's happened. Let's look into how the genre even started in the first place and how a deadly feud in South London.
Oh, this shit is so comfy because I can just sit back here watching this shit. You guys, yo, I might go lay down in my bed, to be honest, bro. Start reacting to shit in my bed. Because, like, at this point, like, you know what I'm saying?
Before I get into this video, I just want to give a quick shout out to Emma Sleep Beds for sending me out one of their divan bed and mattresses. So the drill sound as a whole.
Why do you think I'm going to watch a promo about the mattress? Like, I didn't just say I was going to go sleep on my bed.
Originally started in Southside Chicago with some early artists to create the sound, being big Chicago rapper Chief Keef and the now deceased Little Jojo in the early 2010s, which is a whole different story for another video. But it didn't take too long for London to start adopting the sound, with one of the first UK
he does
to come
that
out
voice
in 2013, when a couple guys from a Brixton gang called 150 dropping a song called It's Crackin', which was a heavy diss track to another opposition gang called 6-7, who are from an area called Brixton Hill. 6-7 even came back with their own diss drill song, using the same beat as the song It's Crackin', and named it It's Fryin'. But it wasn't always like this. Just a few years before this, 6-7 and 150's area used to be cool. These times, 6-7's area, Brixton Hill, used to be called BHB, which was an abbreviation for the Brixton Hill Bullies, and 150's area, which is situated in the Brixton estate called Angeltown, used to be called Gas Gang, with both Brixton Hill and Brixton only being separated by one road. There are even some early tunes with both 6-7 and 150 members on the same track. But in the early 2010s, this all changed. And
2010s. I was young back then. I didn't know what was going on. Like, there was bare wars going on in the UK. There was bare drillings, and I was just like, I don't even know.
Started separating. Stuff started getting patchy in the area in 2010. Around these times, Gas Gang, who are now called 150, were having back and forth with another gang located around 7 minutes away in an area called the Lower Toast Hill.
7 minutes away, and they were beefing. That shit so to me, I can't lie.
The gang in that area was called TN1. But on July the 2nd, 2010, this back and forth took a turn for the worse. An affiliate of the TN1 gang, a 15-year-old kid who went by the name Little Zach, was making his way towards his pupil referral unit, which is pretty much a school for kids who have been kicked out of their mainstream school, normally for bad behavior. Unfortunately, on some bad timing, 5 members of Gas Gang were also making their way towards his school. Before Little Zach could even get to his school gates, the Gas Gang members jumped out on him, and with Little Zach probably being so terrified and not thinking straight, instead of running into his school, he tried to make a break for it on the road. He managed to get around 100 meters away, but was eventually cornered in the back garden and was repeatedly stabbed to death. This death was especially sad due to Little Zach, just a day before his murder, gave a speech at a London conference about how he wanted to leave the gang life behind him and move on. Little Zach also suffered from sickle cell, leading him to be very small for his age. 5 teenagers were sentenced for this murder, one being a big Gas Gang rapper on the scene called
So he was like deformed basically. He was kind of tiny. So that man just treated him like a kid. Rest in peace, bro.
AJ. He was actually identified.
But I mean, just want to be in that life. Be in that life so they die.
On the CCTV. The murder of Little Zach made politics weird in the area, including people from Brixton Hill who are civil with both TN1 and Gas Gang. This situation, alongside a few more situations, caused a massive divide between Brixton Hill and Brixton. Around the same time, the Chicago drill scene started popping off, with the whole of London being tuned in to big Chicago rapper Chief Keef, which started slowly influencing the UK rap game. In 2012, both 6-7 and 150 started to become more active in the rap scene, with 6-7 having a couple rappers like Scribs and Dimsy, and 150 having a few rappers as well like Sticks and M-Dog, rapping on old school UK rap.
Yo, did you man used to listen to drill back then?
You could already start to see.
I was listening to grime back here, fam. I wasn't even listening to drill. I was listening to grime, like JME gigs, all that, fam. Maybe not back here, but maybe a little bit later.
Some early influence.
I was on that grime timing, man. Grime was hard.
Dropped a song called Psycho in 2012. He starts the song off by saying Sosa Baby, which is the same way how Chicago rapper Chief Keef would start off his song. The following year in 2013, this developed into Sit 7, making probably the first drill diss track, with Sit 7 members Scribs and Monkey making a diss track towards 150 called Really in the Field. A month later, 150 rappers Sticks and
they used to get, nah, drill back then was like they got no views, man. No one knew about that.
In 2014, more and more back and forth tracks between the two gangs continue, and in the same year, other gangs in South London start to jump on drill beats as well, including Sit 7 jumping on the same beat as the diss track 150 aimed at them called It's Crackin', turning this into the first UK drill beef. But this was also making the streets hot at the time, and less than a couple weeks after Sit 7 dropped their diss track called It's Fryin', it was clear that this feud was just more than music. On February the 25th,
nah, this guy's voice low-key, he be slurring his words, man.
Took a trip to Angeltown Estate, which is territory of the 150 gang.
He be slurring his words a little bit too much.
150 and started trying to run him down. A 150 rapper who went by the name SQ just happened to be driving past at the time and spotted the altercation and tried to hop out of his car and help his friend out. When SQ approached the Sit 7 member, he was stabbed multiple times, with a stab wound hitting his heart, leaving him in critical condition and sadly later dying from his injuries. Around the same time, Sit 7 started gaining more notoriety.
I am so glad, yo, amen. I'm so glad I'm still alive, to be honest, bro. I'm so real.
From the gang called Scribs, but at the time, Scribs was on a couple cases, which in 2014 eventually ended up with him being banned from making music. But this didn't stop him, with Scribs changing his name to LD and dropping the biggest UK drill tune to come out at the time.
Oh, he changed it.
People in the UK
that's LD. Oh my days.
And this really put Sit 7 on the map.
Is that why he still wears the mask to this day?
After this, the group will get millions of views.
Is that why he still wears the mask to this day?
While 150
what
was
a
starting to
man.
But while Sit 7 was starting to pick up momentum on their tracks, the streets were also starting to heat up. In 2015, a Sit 7 rapper called SJ ordered a minicab from Kennerton in South London to an area called Herne Hill, also in South London. Man. But halfway through his journey, his cab was spun by police, and once him and the cab were searched, he was found in possession of a revolver and
the flintlock wood
was sentenced to 5 years in.
Get back at the flintlock
this
wood.
was deep into when Sit 7 started seeing success, but this didn't really stop the gang's success, and Sit 7 really turned drill from an underground sound to a genre which will be listened to all over the country, which was definitely clear when Sit 7 was nominated for Best Newcomer in the 2016 Mobile Awards, which was a big statement for the genre. But while Sit 7 was starting to receive musical success,
what? I let my man try run, like walk in front of the camera like that with me, fam.
While Sit 7 was starting to receive,
like, what the f? I'll actually bang him in his head, you know. Like, she was like, what the f?
150 was starting to fall under the radar until a 150 rapper called M24 started to jump on the scene, jumping on a feature with rappers from another gang in Brixton called Skengdo and AM.
This song is cold.
And he really started putting on for his gang, especially in 2019.
I'd try and bang him in the face, but I'd get my B-roll. Same. That's when gang gotta jump in, you feel me?
But while 150 was starting to rise up in the scene, 2019 proved to be a deadly year for this war. On March the 19th, a Sit 7 rapper called Leaks was driving through Clapham in South London with his brother. Now Clapham is territory of a gang called CT, who are closely aligned with 150 and also beef Sit 7. Leaks' brother, who was driving at the time, turned into a street called Clapham Park Road when they drove into traffic. Two members of the CT gang spotted Leaks in the passenger seat, one packed with a knife, the other with a walking crutch, and started to pursue the car and tried to spin his whip to avoid the traffic and get away. But unfortunately, while doing this, he crashed into a traffic light. One member of CT then lunged into the driver's seat while the window was open and stabbed Leaks' brother 3 times, while the other member started whacking him with the walking stick.
With the walking stick.
Leaks actually managed to pull a
You don't sound like me, bro. You niggas are so pussy. You niggas are dumb. You don't sound like me. I don't know how people listen to London rap, to be honest. They weird. I know. If you don't know, then you're a
sticks
bot.
from the back seat and tried to protect his brother. But in less than 10 seconds of confrontation, it was too late.
But you don't sound like me.
Leaks' brother sadly
You don't
died
sound like
from
me.
his injuries. The saddest
You
thing
don't sound.
about
Nope.
his death, Leaks' brother, who was a
Don't sound like
father
me.
at the time, wasn't even involved in the gang life. A couple months
Nope.
after this,
A couple months after, do I speak like this? When 6'7" came to my, do I speak like that? No.
18-year-old affiliate of CT called Stomps.
How old is he?
Months after this, an 18-year-old
Oh, 18.
affiliate
So he said
of
15,
CT
you know.
called Stomps was also killed, and the 6'7" member called Giant was convicted for the murder.
That nigga need to put some shit on his lips,
Around
bro.
this time, 6'7" started falling off quite a bit on music, especially after two of their main rappers, called ASAP and LD, were locked up for a county line operation, which was
LD's
shipping
hard,
crack
fam.
and heroin from South London to more
$5,
than an
I don't
hour
want your
away
money,
in
low, bro.
Basingstoke.
But I'm glad you got a job. That's good, man.
Also booked
A new
in
job.
2019, running different county line operations around the country. And another 6'7" rapper called ST just got sentenced to 8 years for possession of a revolver. It was starting to seem like 6'7's time of being the king of drill music was now over. At a time when 150 rappers like M24 and Stick were starting to make moves in the music.
He speaks to
scene.
commas and full stop. He actually does, you
starting to
know.
become more quieter in the scene. Affiliates of 6'7 from a nearby estate called RuPaul Park were starting to make some noise on the scene, with two rappers from the estate called VD and Dopey dropping a very rude song directed towards mainly
Why go for Skingdon AM?
150 and CT called
Why go
Local
for
Shot.
Skingdon AM?
This song came with a lot of disses towards someone called S1. S1 was an 18-year-old CT member whose life was sadly ended in August 2019. S1 alongside one of his female friends were walking through Brixton when they were approached by a RuPaul Park member who went by the name TY. S1 and TY were seen conversing on the street, which ended with the pair going their separate ways. Around 30 minutes after the first altercation, S1 and his female friend were starting to make their way towards a nearby house and happened to walk past TY again. But this time, TY started to follow S1 and eventually approached him. This altercation was much more violent than the first, which ended in a fight with S1 being left with multiple stab wounds and sadly dying from his wounds. But after the success of their first song, VD and Dopey were starting
this is a Google Translator right here,
2019. And with RuPaul Park becoming more of a smaller batch, they were gonna start carrying the 6'7 name on their songs. But in September 2019, their music career was left on pause after VD and Dopey got into a situation outside the KFC in West London, which ended with VD stabbing a 17-year-old to death.
Man,
VD and Dopey were both
West
sentenced
London
for this murder, but Dopey ended up beating the case. VD wasn't that lucky.
Oh yeah, low-key, I should up it, right? I should up the speed. Why am I watching it in 4K? Why am I watching? I want to watch it in 1080p. Talking about watching it in 4K.
He was convicted for the murder. But at this time, drill has started to become more commercialized, and even though some other 6'7 members were starting to
this sounds
tracks,
better,
they weren't
man.
really popping off as much as they used to. While the top drill artists like Tion Wayne and Russ Millions were dropping more catchy and rhythm-based drill songs, 6'7 were still dropping more lyrically.
Yeah, why is he have it that high?
Times in 2020, but this is where 150 rapper M24 really started to pop.
Now he sounds
jumping
cool.
on a hit song with Tion Wayne called London. A new rapper from 6'7 called PR started making some noise on the scene though, but again his songs were more
Mask is
lyrically
cold.
based and also really violent, which ended with police taking down a lot of his tracks due to the feds saying that his songs were inciting violence, especially due to the spout of violence that was going on in Brixton at the time. But when we compare year-by-year crime statistics, Brixton crime has actually went down quite significantly, with it mainly due to the rundown estates in Brixton, like 150's block called Angeltown, being knocked down and rebuilt with nice modern apartments, making the area look almost unrecognizable from its former state. But unfortunately, the estate still has a big issue with gang violence, with it still being the area where 150 members reside and chill, which also means it's a hotspot for enemies who were looking for 150 members.
Enemies.
Which was clear on August 20th, 2020, around 6 PM. On this day, 150's rapper called Stick was celebrating his birthday on the Angeltown estate. So a rapper called 16 Shots, who's from an affiliate gang of 6'7, took a trip to the Angeltown estate that day. When he arrived, he managed to find 150 rapper Sticks and stabbed him in his face. But when 16 Shots tried to make an escape from the estate, multiple 150 members were catching wind to watch this happen and started to chase him out the estate. But once the gang caught up to him, the rapper 16 Shots was stabbed repeatedly, leaving him with a total of 33 stab wounds all over his
two people died for no reason.
body in front of herds of shocked onlookers. Not too long after, paramedics and
People
police
died for no
arrived at the
reason.
scene after multiple calls about the incident. When the ambulance arrived, they tried to treat the wounds, but because there were so many, paramedics had to strip him naked in front of the residents of the estate, with 16 shots constantly begging for a blanket to cover him up. But the medical workers soon realised that the injuries were much worse than they thought, so they had to airlift him to a nearby hospital, where he sadly died later on. Sticks, along with a few more 150 members, were originally arrested for the murder, with some being released under investigation and some being released with no further action. But at the end of last year, after the feds had investigated the murder, another
he actually sounds normal now, him.
Alongside a few more members got charged for the murder and are currently awaiting trial. M-Dog was actually quite a big pioneer for UK drill music, with him jumping on one of the first ever UK drill songs, which is sad to see him go out like that, and with another triple shooting on the Angel Town estate last year on September the 12th, leaving an affiliate of 150 called Chino dying, shows this beef has no signs of ending.
Jesus, that brother forehead big.
Musical success. Nowadays, UK drill is in a completely
man saw a step to the face and the other brothers can survive.
Place to how it was in
just like 50.
With new age drill artists being judged more on their musical ability rather than what they've done on the streets. But it's impossible to have a conversation of the pioneers of UK drill music without talking about 6-7 and 150's launch of the genre.
Look at my man's eyebrows on the right, fam.
Been your boy.
Yo, his face is crazy, man. Brother, you don't want to take care of your shit?
Kid Nerd, and peace out.
Man, you don't want to take care. I don't want to take care of his face, man.
You say me and gang really feel like Fabs, cause right now all of the gang get busy. Ain't got time for a bitch, and got one bitch on my mind and her name Lizzie. Stepping the thing gonna make that pop stop, whipping that coke not fizzy. UK you and I listen to you, I go to my G and I say you're tizzy.